Sarah Chun stood in the center of the giant room. The walls curved up so high she could barely see the top. Thousands of alien beings looked down at her from their seats. Some had too many eyes, others had no eyes at all. A few breathed through tubes that hung from the ceiling. The air smelled like metal and something sweet that made her nose itch. She was the only human in the room. Her black suit felt too small under the bright lights. Her hands stayed at her sides even though she wanted to cross her arms. She had been Earth's voice to the galaxy for 5 years. Today might be her last day in that job. The speaker stood at the front of the room. It was tall and thin like a tree branch. Its skin was blue-gray and moved like water. When it talked, the sound came from holes in its chest instead of a mouth. "We have made our choice," the speaker said. Its voice echoed through the room. "Earth will leave our space. All humans must go back to their homeworld. You have 1 year." Sarah did not move. She had known this was coming. The signs had been there for months. Fewer trade deals. Closed. Meetings she was not invited to. Whispers in the halls about the human problem. A Zentoran stood up from its seat. It looked like a giant beetle with too many legs. When it spoke, clicks and buzzes filled the air. The translation device in Sarah's ear turned the sounds into words. "Humans are too violent," the Zentoran said. "You fight too much. You take what you want. You do not ask first." Another alien stood. This one was covered in thick fur and had eyes like a cat. "Humans change worlds without permission. You make planets fit your needs. You do not care about the life that was there before." More voices joined in. Sarah listened to each complaint. Humans expanded too fast. Humans did not follow the old rules. Humans asked too many questions. Humans wanted to do things their own way. The vegan representative floated in a tank of green liquid. Bubbles rose around its jellyfish-like body as it spoke. "Humans are children. They need time to grow up. Maybe in a few hundred years they will be ready to join us again." Sarah almost laughed at that. Humans had been in space for 300 years. They had built cities on 100 worlds. They had saved the Rigel colonies from a plague. They had stopped 3 wars between other species. But none of that seemed to matter now. The speaker raised one of its long arms. The room became quiet. "Earth has 47 days to begin removing all humans from galactic space. Any human found outside the Sol system after 1 year will be arrested." "What about our cities?" Sarah asked. Her voice sounded small in the huge room. "What about our people who were born on other worlds?" "Not our problem," said a voice from the upper seats. Sarah could not see which alien had spoken. "You should have thought about that before." The speaker's skin rippled. "Human buildings may stay. They will be given to species who can use them properly. Humans who wish to stay must give up their citizenship to Earth. They will become citizens of their new worlds instead." Sarah felt her jaw tighten. They wanted to split up human families. Children born on colony worlds would have to choose between their homes and their people. It was cruel, and they knew it. "Is there any way to change this?" Sarah asked. The room filled with sounds. Clicking, buzzing, roaring, and chirping all mixed together. Sarah's translator could not keep up, but she did not need words to understand. They were laughing at her. The speaker waited for quiet. The vote was 46-1. Only the Altarians spoke for Earth. "The choice is made." Sarah nodded. She had expected this answer. The Altarians were traders who made money from human colonies. Of course, they did not want humans to leave. "May I speak?" Sarah asked. The speaker's skin turned a darker blue. "You may say goodbye." Sarah looked up at the thousands of faces staring down at her. Some looked angry, others looked bored. A few looked sad, but not many. "My species has made mistakes," she said. Her voice carried through the room clearly. "We came to the galaxy. Young and eager, we did not always understand your ways. We changed things too fast sometimes." Heads nodded around the room. They liked hearing her admit humans were wrong. "But we also helped," Sarah continued. "We shared our medicine. We built trade routes through dangerous space. We explored worlds no one else wanted to touch. We made the galaxy bigger for everyone. The nodding stopped. Some aliens shifted in their seats. You say we are too violent, Sarah said. But we have only fought in wars to protect others. You say we take without asking. But we paid for every world we settled. We followed your laws even when they made no sense to us. A Zentard in the front row made angry clicking sounds. Sarah ignored it. You want us to leave because we are different? Because we do things in new ways. Because we ask questions you do not want to answer. Sarah's voice grew stronger. That is fine, we will go. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small device. It looked like a coin but glowed with soft blue light. Several aliens leaned forward to see what it was. But you should know something, Sarah said. She pressed the device and it flashed. Once, we will not go quietly. We will not hide in our home system like children sent to their room. We will find our own way. The speaker's skin turned almost black. What is that device? Sarah smiled. It was not a nice smile. A message too. My people, one word, winter. The aliens looked confused. Sarah knew they would not understand. It was a human word with human meaning. Winter was the time when everything died and the world became cold and hard. But it was also the time when the strong survived and the weak did not. We accept your judgment, Sarah said. She put the device back in her jacket. Earth will remove all humans from galactic space within 1 year as ordered. The speaker seemed surprised. It had probably expected Sarah to beg or make threats. Good, this meeting is finished. Sarah turned and walked toward the door. Her footsteps echoed in the quiet room. She could feel thousands of eyes watching her leave. Some aliens probably thought she looked defeated. They were wrong. At the door, Sarah stopped and looked back. The speaker was still watching her with those strange eyes that had no pupils. One more thing, Sarah said. In a few years, when your ships break down and your trade routes fail, remember this day. Remember that you chose this. The speaker's skin rippled. Human technology is basic. We do not need it. Sarah's smile grew wider. We will see. She walked through the door and into the hallway beyond. Her high heels clicked on the metal floor as she headed for her ship. Behind her, the aliens began talking among themselves. They sounded excited, like they had just won something important. Sarah knew better. They had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. They had told humans to leave, thinking humans would crawl away and hide. Instead, they had just freed humanity from all the rules that had held them back. The message was already traveling through space at the speed of light. Soon every human in the galaxy would know winter was coming, and humanity would be ready for it. Sarah reached her ship and climbed aboard. The pilot, a young man named David, looked at her with worried eyes. How did it go? He asked. Sarah sat down and buckled her safety straps. Start the engines, David. We are going home. For good? Sarah looked out the window at the alien city below. Tall buildings reached toward the sky like metal fingers. Ships moved between them like glowing insects. It was beautiful in its own way. Soon humans would never see it again. For now, she said, but not forever. Marcus Torres stood on the bridge of his ship and watched the screens around him. Each screen showed a different human colony. New Terra with its golden wheat fields. Kepler Station floating in the rings of a gas giant. The mining world of Hadley's. Hope, where children had been born in underground cities. All of them were busy with the same thing. Humans were packing up and leaving. Sir, the transport ships from Vega Colony are loaded, said Lieutenant Kim. She was young and her voice shook. A little. 2 million people and all their equipment. They are ready to jump. Marcus nodded. He was 58 years old and had been in space for 30 years. He had seen wars and disasters, but he had never seen anything like this. In just 3 weeks, humanity was abandoning everything they had built in 200 years of space. Travel. What about the factories? Marcus asked. Stripped clean, sir. Every machine, every computer, every piece of metal we could carry. The buildings are empty shells now. Marcus looked at the main screen. It showed New Geneva, a city of 3 million humans on the world called Haven. The city had beautiful towers that reached into the clouds. Parks with trees from Earth grew between the buildings. Human children played in streets where their grandparents had worked to build something new. Now the city was almost empty. The towers still stood, but no lights shone in the windows. The parks were quiet. The streets had no children. "It makes me sad to see this," said Commander Walsh. She was Marcus's second in command and had been born on Haven. "My family lived there for 60 years, I know," Marcus said. "But we follow orders, and the orders are clear. Every human out of galactic space in 1 year. The aliens must think we are running away scared," Walsh said. Marcus smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Let them think that for now," a new voice came over the radio. It was Captain Hayes from the cargo ship Prometheus. "Admiral, we have a problem. The Zentoran trade minister is here. He wants to talk." Marcus pressed a button. "Put him through." The screen changed to show the inside of the Prometheus. Captain Hayes stood next to a tall alien that looked like a giant insect. The Zentoran had 4 arms and eyes that could turn in different directions, Admiral Torres, the alien said. Its voice buzzed and clicked. "I am Trade Minister Vex. I do not understand what you humans are doing. We are following the Council's orders," Marcus said. "All humans must leave galactic space." "But you are taking everything," Vex said. Its front arms waved in the air. "The fusion reactors, the hyperspace relays, the atmospheric processors, these things should stay." Marcus kept his face blank. "Those are human inventions. We built them with human materials and human work. They belong to us." "But we need them," Vex said. "The power grid on Zentor Prime uses human fusion technology. Our trade ships use the hyperspace network that humans maintain. Without these things, our economy will suffer." "That is not our problem anymore," Marcus said. "The Council made it clear that humans are not welcome. So we are taking our things and leaving." Vex's eyes spun in circles. This was a sign that Zentrons were upset. "You cannot do this. These systems are too important. Watch us," Marcus sighed. He cut the connection. Walsh laughed. "I wish I could see his face right now." "This is just the beginning," Marcus said. "Wait until they realize how much they depended on us." More reports came in throughout the day. The mining operation on Rigel 7 was shutting down. The humans there had been pulling rare metals from deep underground for 40 years. Now they were loading their giant machines onto cargo ships and leaving empty holes in the ground. The research station at Vault 359 was packing up 20 years of scientific equipment. The aliens had always called human science crude and simple. But somehow they always wanted copies of human research papers. The agricultural world of New Iowa was the hardest to watch. Human farmers had turned a dead rock into a world that could feed 50 million people. They had brought earth plants and animals across hundreds of light years. They had built irrigation systems and weather control networks that made the desert bloom. Now they were taking it all back. Every cow, every pig, every grain of wheat, even the bacteria in the soil that helped plants grow. The aliens could keep the empty planet, but it would be just a dead rock again in a few years. "Sir," Lieutenant Kim said, "we are getting complaints from 17 different species. They all want us to leave the infrastructure in place. Tell them to call the Galactic Council," Marcus said. This was their choice. "The vegan collective is offering to pay us to keep the atmospheric processors running on their colony worlds." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "How much?" 10 times the normal maintenance fee." "Tell them no. Our people have more important work to do." "Now?" Kim looked confused. "What work, sir?" Marcus pointed to a star chart on the wall. It showed the galaxy as a bright spiral of stars, but beyond the edge of the galaxy was something else. Empty black space that went on forever. "We are going out there," Marcus said. Walsh stared at the chart. "Into the void? So there is nothing out there. No stars, no planets, no resources." "That is what everyone thinks," Marcus said. "But our long-range sensors have found something." "Interesting." rogue planets that were thrown out of their star systems millions of years ago. Asteroid fields rich with metals, comets full of water and organic compounds. All of it floating free in the dark between galaxies. But how can we live out there? Kim asked. It will be so cold and empty. We will adapt, Marcus said. Humans are good at that. We lived in caves when we had to. We crossed oceans in wooden boats. We built cities in deserts and on ice. We can learn to live in the dark. The door to the bridge opened and Dr. Elena Vasquez walked in. She was the head of humanity's deep space exploration program. Her team had been working in secret for 2 years. Admiral, she said, I have the latest reports from the scout ships. What did you find? Elena smiled. More than we hoped for. The void is not empty at all. There are thousands of rogue planets out there. Some of them are bigger than Earth, and the asteroid fields. Admiral, there are enough rare metals floating in the dark to build 1,000 fleets. Marcus felt excitement growing in his chest. What about energy? That is the best part, Elena said. Some of the rogue planets still have hot cores. We can tap into geothermal energy. And there are gas clouds full of hydrogen for fusion reactors. We will not just survive out there, we will thrive. Walsh shook her head, but it will take years to build anything. How will we live until then? We have been preparing, Marcus said. Every human colony has been building mobile habitats and generation ships. We have stockpiled enough supplies to last a decade. And once we start mining the rogue planets, we will have more resources than we ever had in the galaxy. Lieutenant Kim was staring at the star chart again. The aliens have no idea, do they? None at all, Marcus said. They think they are punishing us by making us leave. They have no idea they are setting us free. A new message came in from Earth. It was from the President herself. Marcus read it quickly and then looked up at his crew. New orders, he said. All human ships are to gather at the galactic rim. We begin the journey into the void in 2 weeks. What about the aliens? Walsh asked. Some of them are starting to panic about losing human technology. Marcus looked at the screens showing empty human cities and abandoned colonies. Soon, aliens would move into those buildings. They would try to use the machines humans had left behind. But the machines would break down without human maintenance. The power grids would fail. The trade routes would collapse, and then the aliens would understand what they had lost. Let them panic, Marcus said. They made their choice. Now they will live with it. He pressed a button and spoke to the entire fleet. All ships, this is Admiral Torres. Begin final preparations for departure. In 2 weeks, we leave the galaxy behind and start building something new, something better, something that will be ours alone. Elena walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Do you think we will ever come back? Marcus joined her at the window. The galaxy stretched out before them, beautiful and bright and full of aliens who thought they had won. Oh yes, he said quietly, we will be back. But when we return, everything will be different. Dr. Elena Vasquez floated in zero gravity inside the research pod. Through the thick window she could see nothing but darkness. No stars, no planets, no light of any kind. This was the void between galaxies, where no living thing was supposed to exist, but Elena was not afraid, she was excited. Computer, turn on the external lights, she said. Bright beams shot out from her ship and lit up the space around her. What she saw made her heart beat faster. Floating in the darkness was a chunk of rock the size of a mountain. The scanner showed it was full of platinum, gold, and rare earth metals. More wealth than most planets had ever seen. This is Scout. Ship 7 to base camp, Elena said into her radio. I found another one. Asteroid designation Alpha 47. Estimated value is 2 billion credits. A voice crackled back through the static. It was Commander Park from the main human settlement. Copy that, Elena. That makes 12 rich asteroids this week. How big is the field? Elena checked her instruments. Sensors show at least 300 objects in this cluster. Some are small, but others ... She paused as the scanner finished its sweep. Commander, I am reading one asteroid that is 20 kilometers across. It is almost pure iron and nickel. Incredible. Park said, any signs of alien activity? Nothing. The void is completely empty except for the rogue objects. We are alone out here. Elena guided her ship deeper into the asteroid field. 6 months ago, she had been part of the first human expedition into the void. Everyone had expected to find nothing but cold emptiness. Instead, they had discovered a treasure beyond imagination, planets that had been thrown out of their star. Systems long ago drifted through the dark. Some were frozen solid, but others still had warm cores that could provide geothermal energy. Gas clouds full of hydrogen stretched for light years. Asteroid fields rich with metals floated like scattered jewels. And best of all, there were no aliens to share it with. Elena, Commander Park's voice came through the radio again. We are getting reports from the galaxy. The situation there is getting worse. What kind of reports? Trade Minister Vex sent another message to Admiral Torres. The Zentaran economy is failing. Their cargo ships cannot navigate the hyperspace network without human maintenance. 3 major trade routes have shut down completely. Elena smiled as she guided her ship around a spinning chunk of ice the size of a city. Good. Maybe they will learn not to throw away their friends. It gets better, Park said. The vegan collective is having power failures across 12 worlds. The fusion reactors we built for them are breaking down. They do not know how to fix them. Did they ask for help? They tried. Admiral Torres told them to contact the Galactic Council. Elena laughed. She could picture the Admiral's face when he said that. Marcus Torres had a way of being polite while making people feel very stupid. Any word from the Rigel colonies? Elena asked. Bad news for them. The plague is coming back. Without human medical supplies and doctors, they cannot stop it. The Altarians are asking Earth to send help. Elena felt a little sad about that. The plague on Rigel had killed millions before humans found a cure. Children were dying because the Galactic Council wanted to punish humanity. What did Earth say? President Martinez was clear. Any species that voted to exile humans cannot expect human help. If the Altarians want medical aid, they need to convince the other council members to change their vote. Elena moved her ship closer to the big asteroid. Her mining drones deployed and began cutting into the rock. Each drone was small, but they worked together like a swarm of metal bees. Within hours, they would strip the asteroid of its most valuable metals. Elena, we have another problem, Park said. Long-range sensors are picking up alien ships at the galactic rim. They seem to be looking for us. What kind of ships? A Zentaran. Scouts mostly, a few vegan research vessels. They are scanning the void, but they cannot see very far into the dark. Elena was not worried. Human ships had been designed for stealth. They could hide in the darkness better than any alien vessel. Are they getting close to our settlements? No, they seem afraid to go too far from the galaxy. But they are definitely searching for something. Elena finished deploying her mining drones and started heading back to base. The human settlement in the void was growing every day. What had started as a few temporary habitats was becoming a real city. A city that floated. Free in the darkness, powered by energy from rogue planets and built with metals from wandering asteroids. Commander, I am heading home, Elena said. My cargo hold is full and I need to refuel. Copy that. See you in a few hours. Elena set her ship's autopilot and leaned back in her chair. Through the window she could see the faint glow of the galaxy far behind her. It looked small and distant now. Hard to believe that all those billions of stars had once seemed so important. Her radio crackled with a new voice. It was Captain Reed from the construction ship Hercules. Elena, you need to see what we built today. What is it? A new factory, completely automated. It can turn raw asteroid metal into ship parts, weapons, anything we need. The best part is, it uses technology we never tried in the galaxy. Why not? Too dangerous, the aliens said. Too unpredictable. But out here, we can experiment all we want. Elena thought about that. In the galaxy, humans had always been careful not to upset the other species. They followed alien rules and used alien-approved technology. But in the void, there were no rules except the ones humans made for themselves. What kind of technology? She asked. Nano-assemblers, AI-controlled manufacturing, self-replicating mining systems, things the Galactic Council banned because they were afraid of what might happen. Elena felt excitement growing in her chest. How fast can the factory work? We can build a new ship every week once we get more materials. And each ship will be better than anything we had in the galaxy. The settlement came into view ahead of her. It had grown so much in just 6 months. What had started as a small research station was now a sprawling complex of habitats, factories, and docking bays. Thousands of humans lived and worked there, building something completely new, but this was just the beginning. Elena knew that other human groups were spreading throughout the void, claiming rogue planets and asteroid fields. Each group was independent, but they all shared the same goal: build something better than what they had lost. Elena, Commander Park's voice came through the radio again. We just got a message from Earth. President Martinez wants to know how our mining operation is going. Tell her we are ahead of schedule, Elena said as she guided her ship into the docking bay. The asteroid field we found this week has enough platinum to buy half the galaxy. She also wants to know when we will be ready for the next phase, Elena smiled. The next phase was something humans had been planning in secret. While the aliens thought humanity was hiding in shame, humans were actually preparing for something much bigger. Tell the president we will be ready in 2 years, Elena said. Maybe less if we keep finding resources like this. She powered down her ship and opened the cargo bay. The mining drones had done their work well. Tons of pure metal filled the storage containers. Enough wealth to fund the construction of a dozen new ships. Elena walked through the corridors of the settlement and looked through the windows at the work going on outside. Construction crews were building new habitats using materials from the void. Engineers were testing new technologies that would have been illegal in galactic space. Scientists were studying rogue planets that had never been explored before. And in the distance, she could see the bright lights of other human settlements. Points of light in the darkness where human civilization was growing stronger every day. The aliens had wanted to punish humanity by making them leave the galaxy. Instead, they had given humans the greatest gift possible: freedom to build whatever they wanted, however they wanted. With resources beyond imagination, Elena reached her quarters and sat down at her desk. She opened her computer and began writing her daily report. But first, she looked out the window one more time at the galaxy far away. Thank you, she whispered to the aliens who could not hear her. Thank you for setting us free. Trade Minister Vex stood in his office on Zentor Prime and stared at the screen showing economic reports. Every number was red, every chart pointed down. The Zentoran trade empire, which had controlled galactic commerce for 300 years, was dying. Sir, his assistant buzzed through the intercom. The power grid in Sector 7 just failed. That is the 4th blackout this week? Vex clicked his mandibles in frustration. The fusion reactors that powered his world were human designs. When they broke down, only humans knew how to fix them. But there were no humans left to ask for help. What about the backup generators? Vex asked. They failed last month, sir. We tried to repair them using alien engineers, but they made the problems worse. Vex turned to look out his window at the city below. Half the buildings were dark. The moving walkways had stopped working. Even the air recycling systems were starting to fail. His beautiful world was slowly falling apart. A message alert chimed on his desk. Vex opened it and saw it was from the Galactic Council. The message was short and angry. Emergency session. Called all council members must attend. The human problem is getting worse. Vex packed his travel bag and left for Nexus Prime. The journey that used to take 2 hours now took 8. The hyperspace relay network was failing without human maintenance. Large sections of space were becoming impossible to navigate. When Vex arrived at the council chambers, he saw that many other representatives looked as worried as he felt. The vegan delegate floated in a tank that had patches welded on the sides. Even their life support equipment was breaking down. The speaker stood at the center of the room. Its blue-gray skin was darker than usual, which meant it was upset. Fellow council members, we have a crisis. The exile of humanity has caused more problems than we expected. A Rugelian stood up. It looked like a tall lizard with too many teeth. My colonies are dying. The plague has returned, and we have no way to stop it. Human doctors and medicines are not available. My trade routes are closed, said a Canopian merchant. Without the hyperspace network, my ships cannot reach half the galaxy. I am losing millions of credits every day. The vegan representative bubbled in its tank. Our agricultural worlds are failing. The atmospheric processors that humans built are breaking down. Soon we will not be able to grow enough food to feed our people. More voices joined in. Every species had the same problem. They had depended on human technology and human knowledge more than they realized. Now that the humans were gone, their civilizations were slowly falling apart. The speaker raised one of its long arms for silence. I have tried to contact the human government on Earth. They will not respond to our messages. What about Admiral Torres? Asked the Zentoran military commander. He was reasonable before. Torres has disappeared, the speaker said. Our scouts found his last known position at the galactic rim. But there is no trace of him or any human ships beyond that point. Vex felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. What do you mean, disappeared? Long-range sensors show signs of massive construction projects in the void between galaxies. But we cannot get close enough to see what is being built. Every time our ships approach, they detect unknown vessels watching them from the darkness. The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking the same thing. What were the humans doing out there in the empty space? Sir, said a young aide who had just entered the chamber, we are receiving a transmission from the void. It is on all frequencies. The speaker's skin rippled. Put it through. The main screen lit up with the image of a human woman. She was middle-aged with gray hair and wore a uniform that Vex did not recognize. Behind her, he could see what looked like the bridge of a ship, but the technology was unlike anything he had ever seen. Greetings to the Galactic Council, the woman said. Her voice was calm and polite. I am Admiral Sarah Chun, representing the Independent Human Collective. Vex remembered Sarah Chun. She had been Earth's ambassador before the exile. But something about her was different now. She looked stronger, more confident, and there was something cold in her eyes that had not been there before. Admiral Chun, the speaker said, we have been trying to contact your people. We need to discuss some problems that have arisen since the exile. Sarah smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. I am sure you do. Your message is the first communication we have received from the Galactic Council in 2 years. I was beginning to think you had forgotten about us. We would like to arrange a meeting, the speaker continued. Perhaps we can work out some kind of trade agreement. Your people have knowledge and skills that we need. How interesting, Sarah said. 2 years ago, you told us we were too dangerous to remain in galactic space. You said we were violent and unpredictable. What has changed? The speaker's skin turned almost black. Circumstances have evolved. We may have been too hasty in our judgment. Sarah laughed, and the sound made Vex's chitin crawl. Too hasty. You exiled an entire species based on fear and prejudice. You broke up families and destroyed communities that had existed for generations, and now you want to make a deal? Admiral, said the vegan representative, our people are suffering. The systems you built are failing. We need your help. Your people are suffering? Sarah repeated. How tragic. Tell me, when human children were forced to choose between their families and their homes, did you care about their suffering? When human scientists were banned from conferences they had helped organize, did you worry about the damage to galactic research? The chamber was silent. No one wanted to answer those questions. Sarah continued. For 2 years we have listened to the galaxy's troubles, power grids failing, trade routes closing, plagues returning. War is starting because no one can maintain the peacekeeping systems. It has been very educational. What do you want? The speaker asked bluntly. Want? Sarah seemed surprised by the question. We do not want anything from you. We have everything we need. She gestured to something off-screen and the view changed. Now the council could see space outside her ship. What they saw made everyone gasp. Floating in the void were massive structures that looked like cities made of metal and crystal. Ships moved between them like schools of fish, but these ships were sleek and powerful beyond anything in the galactic. Databases. Lights twinkled on what looked like artificial planets, suggesting millions of people living and working in the darkness. This is just one of our settlements, Sarah said as the view returned to her face. We have built 17 others like it throughout the void. Each one is completely self-sufficient. Each one is defended by weapons you cannot imagine. Vex stared at the screen in shock. In 2 years, the humans had built a civilization that rivaled anything in the galaxy. But how was that possible? You see, Sarah continued, Exile was the best thing that ever happened to humanity. For centuries, we followed your rules. We used your approved technologies. We limited ourselves to make you comfortable. But in the void, we are free to build whatever we want. Those ships, the speaker said quietly, what are they powered by? Technologies your council banned as too dangerous, Sarah replied. Zero-point energy extractors, quantum fusion reactors, self-repairing hull materials. Amazing what you can accomplish when you are not held back by fear. The implications hit Vex like a physical blow. Humanity had not just survived their exile. They had used it to become something new, something more advanced than any galactic civilization. Admiral, the speaker said, perhaps we could reconsider the exile. Your people could return to galactic space with full rights and privileges? Sarah's expression did not change. Return? Why would we want to return to a place where we were not welcome? But surely some humans miss their old homes, the vegan representative said. Some must want to come back. You are right, Sarah said. Some humans do miss the galaxy. They remember the friends they made and the places they loved. But they also remember being told they were not good enough to stay. She paused and looked directly at the camera. However, the Independent Human Collective is not unreasonable. We are prepared to offer you something. What? Several voices asked at once. Trade agreements? Technology exchanges? Medical assistance for the plague worlds? Energy solutions for your failing power grids? Everything you need to rebuild what you have lost. Hope flickered in Vex's chest. Maybe there was a way out of this disaster after all. But, Sarah continued, we will not be trading as supplicants begging for acceptance. We will trade as equals. As an independent civilization with our own territory and our own rules. What? Territory? The speaker asked. Sarah smiled again, and this time there was genuine warmth in it. The void between galaxies. All of it. We claim it as sovereign human space. Any alien ship that enters without permission will be turned away. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Species that had never agreed on anything were suddenly united in outrage. How dare the humans claim territory that did not belong to anyone? Sarah waited for the noise to die down. Of course, if you prefer to handle your problems without human assistance, we understand. We can simply return to our isolation and let you manage on your own. The anger died quickly. Everyone remembered the blackouts, the failed trade routes, and the returning plagues. What are your terms? The speaker asked quietly. Captain Jiang Wei stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus and watched the galaxy grow larger on the main screen. Behind him, 29 other human ships followed in perfect formation. They were coming home, but not as the same species that had left 3 years ago. Captain, said his communications officer, we are receiving multiple hails from alien vessels. They want to know our intentions. Jiang smiled. The aliens were nervous. Good, they should be. Tell them we are here for the trade negotiations, Jiang said. Nothing more, but that was not entirely true. Jiang and his crew were here to show the galaxy what humanity had become. The Prometheus was not just a ship. It was a message written in metal and energy. A declaration that humanity had not only survived their exile, but had grown stronger because of it. The ship itself was beautiful in a way that alien vessels were not. Its hull was black as the void between stars, but lights ran along its surface, in patterns that seemed to shift and flow. The engines left no visible exhaust, yet the ship moved faster than anything in the galactic databases. Most impressive of all, the ship seemed to repair itself. Small scratches and dents disappeared within minutes. "Sir," the sensor operator called out, "I am detecting 47 alien warships moving to intercept us. Are they hostile?" "No, sir. They appear to be ... escorts. They are keeping their distance but staying close enough to watch everything we do." Zhang nodded. Of course the aliens would send warships. They were afraid. They had spent 3 years watching their civilization slowly fall apart while humanity built something new in the darkness. Now humans were returning and no one knew what to expect. "Captain," the communications officer said, "we are being hailed by Admiral Torres on the flagship Earthrise." Zhang pressed a button. "Marcus, good to see you again." Admiral Torres appeared on the screen. He was aboard one of the massive colony ships that had followed the human fleet back to galactic space. "Zhang, how does it feel to be back?" "Strange," Zhang admitted. "Everything looks smaller than I remembered." "That is because we have seen bigger things now," Torres said. "Are you ready for this?" Zhang looked at the star charts showing their destination. Nexus Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Council. The same place where Ambassador Chun had received humanity's exile order 3 years ago. "I am ready," Zhang said. The journey to Nexus Prime took 6 hours. In the old days, it would have taken 2 days. But the Prometheus used technologies that the galaxy had never seen before. Quantum jump drives that folded space itself. Navigation computers that could calculate routes through dimensions the aliens did not know existed. As they approached the capital world, John could see the damage that 3 years had done. The orbital stations around Nexus Prime looked old and worn. Many of their lights were out. Ships moved slowly between them like tired animals. "This is Nexus Control," a voice said over the radio. "Human vessels, you are cleared to dock at Station 7. Acknowledged," Zhang replied. But he did not miss the tone in the alien's voice. It was respectful now. Almost humble. Very different from the arrogance humans had faced 3 years ago. The docking procedure was smooth. Zhang's crew had trained for this moment. They knew exactly how to present themselves. Professional, confident, powerful, Zhang left his ship, wearing a new type of uniform. It was made from materials that did not exist in galactic space. The fabric seemed to absorb light, making him look like a shadow with substance. His rank insignia glowed softly with energy that came from nowhere the aliens could understand. A delegation was waiting for him at the airlock. Trade Minister Vex stood at the front, flanked by representatives from a dozen other species. They all looked nervous. "Captain Zhang," Vex said, his voice clicking and buzzing. "Welcome back to Nexus Prime." "Thank you," Zhang replied. His voice was calm and polite. "I hope our negotiations will be productive." As they walked through the station corridors, Zhang noticed how many things were broken or poorly maintained. Light panels flickered. Air recyclers made grinding noises. The moving walkways that had once glided smoothly now jerked and stuttered. "I apologize for the condition of the station," Vex said. "We have been having some technical difficulties." "I understand," Zhang said. "These things happen when you do not have the right expertise." They reached the main conference room where the Galactic Council was waiting. Zhang looked around at the faces staring at him. 3 years ago, these same beings had voted to exile his species. Now they needed humanity's help to survive. The speaker stood at the center of the room. Its blue-gray skin was pale, and Zhang could see stress patterns rippling across its surface. "Captain Zhang," the speaker said, "we appreciate you coming here to discuss trade agreements. The independent human collective is always interested in mutually beneficial relationships," Zhang replied. He sat down at the negotiating table and placed a small device in front of him. It projected a holographic display showing trade proposals. "These are our terms," Zhang said. "Medical supplies to stop the plagues, energy solutions to restore your power grids, technical expertise to repair your hyperspace network, navigation assistance for your trade routes." The alien representatives leaned forward eagerly. These were exactly the things they needed. "In exchange," Zhang continued, "we want recognition of human sovereignty over the void between galaxies, formal trade agreements between equal nations, and most importantly, guarantee that no species will ever again be exiled from galactic space simply for being different." The speaker's skin darkened. "Those terms are generous, but the void between galaxies is vast. Surely there is room for some alien exploration and development." Zhang's expression did not change. "The void is human territory now. We claimed it, we developed it, we live there. Just as you would not want humans mining asteroids in your home systems without permission." "But there are resources out there that could benefit everyone," said the vegan representative. "True," Zhang agreed. "And we are willing to trade those resources. But trade means both sides get something they want. We are not a charity." "Trade." Minister Vex leaned forward. "What would you want in return for void resources?" Zhang smiled. "Access to galactic markets, research cooperation, cultural exchanges, the same things any two civilizations might trade." "That seems reasonable," Vex sighed. "But," Zhang continued, "there is one more condition." The room became quiet. Everyone waited to hear what humanity's final demand would be. "Any species that wants to trade with the independent human collective must first apologize for supporting our exile," Zhang said. The silence stretched on. Zhang could see anger and pride warring with desperation on the alien faces. They needed human help, but apologizing meant admitting they had been wrong. The speaker was the first to break. "Captain Zhang, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I apologize for the decision to exile humanity. It was made in fear and ignorance. We were wrong." One by one, the other representatives added their apologies. Some sounded sincere. Others were clearly forced. But Zhang accepted them all with gracious nods. "Thank you," he said when the last apology was finished. "Now we can begin building something better." Over the next 3 days, Zhang and his team negotiated dozens of trade agreements. Human medical teams would return to stop the plagues. Human engineers would help repair the failing infrastructure. Human ships would restore the broken trade routes, but it would all happen on human terms. The independent human collective would remain independent. Human territory in the void would be respected. And humanity would never again be subject to galactic laws and regulations. On the final day, Zhang stood before the full Galactic Council to sign the agreements. As he picked up the signing stylus, he thought about Ambassador Chun and all the humans who had suffered through the exile. 3 years ago, Zhang said, you told us to leave because we were too different, too violent, too unpredictable. He signed his name with a flourish. You were right, he continued. We are different. We do not accept limits that others try to place on us. We do not bow to authority just because it is old. We build our own future instead of accepting the one others choose for us. Zhang stood up and looked around the chamber at all the alien faces watching him. You exiled us thinking it would teach us humility, he said. Instead, it taught us that we do not need your approval to be great. Thank you for that lesson. He walked out of the chamber with his head held high. Behind him, the aliens sat in stunned silence, finally understanding what they had lost and what they had created. As Zhang's ship left Nexus Prime and headed back to the void, he opened a communication channel to Admiral Torres. How did it go? Torres asked. Zhang looked at the galaxy shrinking behind them and then ahead to the darkness where humanity's real future waited. It went perfectly, he said. They finally understand that we do not need them. But they definitely need us. And that makes all the difference, Torres replied. Zhang nodded. The exile that was meant to punish humanity had instead set them free. And now the galaxy would have to live with the consequences of their choice. In the void between galaxies, humanity continued to build something new, something that belonged to them alone, something that no one could ever take away. The galaxy had voted to exile Earth. Humanity had not waited to see if that was enough. It was more than enough. It was perfect.